In the village of Ngalita, where the river bends like an old man's back, there lived a woman named Maveka. Her first husband died when fever took him one rainy season. She was left alone with her son, Tayiro, who was only 7 years old. Life was hard for a widow. The other woman whispered when she passed. The men looked away. She needed help to survive, so when Gadumo the fisherman asked to marry her, she said yes. Gadumo was strong but his heart was cold. He had 2 children from his first wife who had left him. He agreed to take Maveka as his wife, but he did not want her son. "That boy is not my blood," he told her on their wedding night. "He will work for his food in this house." Maveka's heart grew heavy, but what could she do? A woman alone has no voice. The elders say, a tree cannot stand without roots. She needed Gadumo to survive. From the first morning, Tayiro's life changed. While Gadumo's children, Nia and Bomani, slept on soft mats, Tayiro slept on the floor near the cooking stones. Before the sun rose, Gadumo would wake him with a rough shake. "Get up, lazy boy. Fetch water from the river. The nets need cleaning. Move." Tayiro would run to the river in the dark, his small hands carrying heavy buckets. His back hurt. His feet were cut by stones. But he did not cry where anyone could see. At school, the teacher asked why he came late. Tayiro said nothing. How could he explain that his stepfather made him work until his hands bled? The other children in Gadumo's house ate first. Tayiro ate last, sometimes only scraps. His mother would sneak him food when Gadumo was not looking, but she was too afraid to speak up. The elders say, the child who is not loved by the father will be raised by the moon. Tayiro learned to be alone. Gadumo treated his own children like treasures. Nia and Bomani did no work. They laughed and played while Tayiro carried firewood on his small shoulders. When Bomani broke a clay pot, Gadumo said, "It is only a pot. Go and play." When Tayiro broke a fishing net by accident, Gadumo beat him with a stick until Maveka begged him to stop. "This boy is useless," Gadumo shouted. "He eats my food and ruins my things." Tayiro's eyes filled with tears, but he learned not to speak. He learned to be silent like the stones in the river. Maveka held her son at night and whispered, "Be patient, my child. God sees everything." But Tayiro wondered if God was watching at all. The village people noticed. The old women shook their heads. But no one spoke against Gadumo. He was a man, and men did as they pleased. The elders say, "What you do to the orphan, you do to yourself," but Gadumo did not listen to old wisdom. One evening, Gadumo sent Tayiro to carry a large clay pot to the river. The pot was old and heavy. Tayiro was only 10 years old. "If you break it," Gadumo warned, "you will not eat for 3 days." Tayiro carried the pot carefully. But the path was slippery from the rain. His foot slipped on wet mud, and the pot fell. It shattered into many pieces. His heart stopped. He stood there, shaking, looking at the broken clay. He knew what was coming. When he returned home without the pot, Gadumo's face turned dark with anger. "Where is my pot?" It broke, Papa. I fell. I am not your papa," Gadumo shouted. He grabbed a thick stick and beat Tayiro until the boy fell to the ground. Maveka screamed and threw herself between them. "Please. He is just a child. A useless child." Gadumo pushed her aside. That night, Tayiro lay on his mat, his body covered in bruises. He made a decision. He would run away. Before dawn, while everyone slept, Tayiro took one piece of dried fish and a cup of water. He looked at his mother one last time. She was sleeping, her face wet with tears even in her dreams. "Forgive me, Mama," he whispered. "I cannot stay." He walked out into the darkness. The river sang its lonely song. The road stretched before him like a question with no answer. He was 11 years old, and he was alone in the world. The elders say, the one who runs from fire may run into flood, but Tayiro did not care. Anything was better than Gadumo's house. He walked for 2 days, eating wild fruits and drinking from streams. His feet were sore. His stomach was empty. But his heart felt lighter. In a distant town, a kind carpenter named Baba Omari found him sleeping under a market stall. "Where is your family, boy?" "I have no family," Tayiro lied. Baba Omari saw the scars on the boy's arms. He understood. "Come. You can work for me. I will teach you a trade." And so, Tayiro's new life began. Tayiro worked hard for Baba Omari. He learned to build chairs, tables, and doors. His hands, once small and weak, became strong. He went to night school and learned to read and write. The teachers said he was very smart. "This boy will go far," they said. Years passed. Tayiro became a young man. He was kind to everyone, even when they were not kind to him. He remembered his pain, but he did not let it make him cruel. When Baba Omari grew old and sick, Tayiro took care of him like a son. The old man wept. "You are the son I never had," Baba Omari said before he died. "I leave you my workshop and my savings. Use them well." Tayiro used the money to start a business. He built furniture and sold it in the city. People liked his work. His business grew. He became successful, not rich like kings, but comfortable. He had a house, food, and respect. But he never forgot where he came from. Back in the village of Ngalita, things were getting worse. The rains did not come for 2 seasons. The river became shallow. The fish disappeared. Gadumo's fishing business failed. He had no money. His nets were old and torn. His boat had holes. His children, Nia and Bomani, are grown now. When the food ran out, they left. "We cannot stay here and starve," Bomani said. "But I am your father." Gadumo cried. "Then you should have saved money when times were good," Nia replied coldly. They left him with nothing. The elders say, the way you raise your children is the bed you will sleep in when you are old. Gadumo finally understood. Maveka had died 2 years before, her heart broken by years of sorrow. Gadumo was alone now, hungry and forgotten. He thought about Tayiro sometimes. The boy he had beaten and hated. Where was he now? Probably dead, Gadumo thought. Good riddance. But life was preparing a lesson for him. Hunger can make a proud man humble. Gadumo had nothing left. His house was falling apart. His neighbors avoided him. No one wanted to help a man who had been cruel all his life. One morning, he decided to go to the city. Maybe he could find work. Maybe he could beg for food. He walked for many days, thin and weak. His clothes were torn. His feet were bare. People looked at him with pity or disgust. Finally, he reached the city. It was loud and crowded. He did not know where to go. He walked through streets, knocking on doors, asking for food. Most people turned him away. "Go away, old man. We have nothing for beggars." His stomach hurt from hunger. His legs could barely carry him. He sat down in the dust and began to cry. An old woman passing by felt sorry for him. "There is a good man who lives on River Road," she said. "He helps people sometimes. Go and ask him. His name is Tayiro." Gadumo did not recognize the name. How could he? It had been so many years. Gadumo stood before a large house. It was not a mansion, but it was solid and clean. He knocked on the wooden door, his hand shaking. A young man opened it. He was tall and strong, with kind eyes. Gadumo did not recognize him. But Tayiro recognized Gadumo immediately. His heart jumped. For a moment, anger rose in his chest like fire. This was the man who had beaten him. The man who had made his childhood a nightmare. But then he remembered his mother's words. Even the stick that beats you can be burned to warm you later. Yes. Can I help you? Tayiro asked calmly. Please, sir, Gadumo begged, his voice breaking. I have not eaten in 3 days. I am weak. If you could spare anything. Tayiro stood silent for a moment. Then he stepped aside. Come in. Gadumo stumbled inside, shocked. No one had shown him kindness in so long. Tayiro brought water, bread, soup, and fruit. He placed them before Gadumo, who ate like a man rescued from drowning. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Gadumo said, tears running down his cheeks. You do not know what this means. Tayiro sat across from him, watching quietly. Where are you from, old man? Tayiro asked. A village called Ngalita. By the river. Tayiro's heart beat faster. And your family? I had a wife. She died. I had 2 children. They left me. Gadumo's voice was bitter. I am alone now. What about your stepson? Tayiro asked softly. Gadumo looked up, confused. Stepson. How do you? It is me, Gadumo. I am Tayiro. The old man's face went white. The bread fell from his hand. No, no, it cannot be. It is me. The boy you beat. The boy you hated. The boy you worked like a donkey. Gadumo began to shake. Tears poured from his eyes. He fell to his knees. Forgive me, please. I was a wicked man. I deserve nothing from you. Kill me if you wish. Tayiro looked down at the man who had caused him so much pain. He could have thrown him out. He could have laughed at him. He could have taken revenge. But he did not. I will not kill you, Gadumo. And I will not throw you out. Gadumo looked up, confused. You taught me pain, Tayiro said slowly, but my mother taught me mercy. Those words broke Gadumo completely. He wept like a child, his whole body shaking. I do not deserve this. I do not deserve your kindness. No, you do not, Tayiro said honestly. But mercy is not about what people deserve. It is about who we choose to be. The elders say, the hand that gives is higher than the hand that receives. Tayiro had learned this truth. He gave Gadumo a place to sleep, clean clothes, and food. Not because Gadumo had earned it. But because Tayiro refused to let bitterness poison his heart. For many days, Gadumo stayed in Tayiro's house. He was too ashamed to speak much. He helped with small chores, sweeping, washing dishes, trying to repay the kindness he did not deserve. At night, he lay awake, remembering all the cruel things he had done. He remembered Tayiro's small hands bleeding from work. He remembered the boy's tears. He remembered Maveka's pleading voice. What kind of monster was I? He whispered into the darkness. Tayiro saw the old man's suffering, but he did not try to comfort him with easy words. Some lessons must be learned in pain. One evening, they sat together by the fire. Gadumo finally spoke. Why? He asked. Why do you help me after what I did? Tayiro stared into the flames. Because someone once helped me when I had nothing. Because my mother loved me even when you hated me. Because hate is a poison that kills the one who drinks it. Gadumo nodded slowly, understanding. I destroyed my own life, he said. My children left because I taught them cruelty, not love. You know, Tayiro said one day, when I was a boy, I used to pray that you would love me. Just a little. Just enough to stop the beatings. Gadumo's eyes filled with tears again. I thought strength meant being hard, Gadumo said. I thought kindness was a weakness. I was a fool. Yes, you were, Tayiro agreed. But fools can learn. That is what makes us human. The elders say, a tree that refuses to bend will break in the storm. Gadumo had broken. Now, perhaps, he could grow again. I cannot undo the past, Gadumo said. But if I could, I would hold you as my son. I would tell you I was proud of you. I know, Tayiro said quietly. But I do not need that anymore. I have made peace with my pain. How? Gadumo asked. How did you not become like me? Tayiro smiled sadly. Because I decided that my pain would make me kinder, not crueler. That is the only revenge worth taking. Tayiro wrote a letter to the elders of Ngalita. He sent money to help the village during the famine. He asked them to distribute it to families in need. When the people of Ngalita learned that Tayiro, the forgotten stepson, had saved them, they were ashamed. We watched him suffer, one old woman said. We said nothing. We let Gadumo treat him like an animal, another added. And now he saves us. The elders gathered and spoke about it for many days. This is the lesson, the oldest one said. The child you ignore today may become the adult who saves you tomorrow. The seed of kindness, even planted in hard ground, will grow. They sent a message back, thanking Tayiro and asking Gadumo to return home if he wished. But Gadumo did not want to go back. He wanted to stay near the man whose life he had tried to destroy but who had saved him instead. Months passed. Gadumo grew healthier. His body healed, though his heart still carried scars. One day, a young boy knocked on Tayiro's door. He was thin, with frightened eyes. His arms had bruises. Please, sir, the boy said. I ran away from my stepfather. He beats me. Can you help? Tayiro looked at Gadumo. Gadumo looked at the boy and saw himself, the cruel man he had been. Come in, child, Tayiro said gently. That night, as the boy slept on a soft mat with a full stomach, Gadumo spoke. I see now, he said. I see what I did. I see it in that boy's eyes. Yes, Tayiro said. And now you have a choice. You can help me help him. You can become the man you should have been. Gadumo nodded, tears streaming down his weathered face. I will try, he whispered. For the rest of my days, I will try. The elders say, it is never too late to plant a tree, but the shade you seek today should have been planted yesterday. Years later, when Gadumo was very old, he lay on his deathbed. Tayiro sat beside him, holding his hand. Thank you, Gadumo whispered. You gave me more than I deserved. I gave you what my mother would have wanted, Tayiro replied. Tell me, Gadumo asked, do you think she would have forgiven me? Tayiro thought about his mother, her gentle face, her suffering, her love. Yes, he said. She forgave you long before I did. Gadumo closed his eyes and smiled. For the first time in his life, he felt peace. When he died, Tayiro buried him with honor. Not because Gadumo had earned it, but because mercy does not count the cost. And so the story is told, even now, by the river in Ngalita. The old ones tell it to the young ones when they see cruelty or pride. The heart you wound today may be the only one that can save you tomorrow, asterisk. Kindness is never wasted, even when planted in pain, asterisk. And they remember Tayiro, who learned that the greatest strength is not in fists or anger, but in the courage to forgive.